Hi and welcome to Guitar from Zero. This is the first lesson. It's really about knowing your guitar. It's good to know all the parts so that you can name them if you need anything, and also be cocky with your mates because you know everything. So let's have a look at the first. We've got the Guitar from Zero book printed out. I've printed mine out and I'm on page 5, so turn to page 5 and I'll go through everything with you so you know what is happening. Okay, it's about knowing your instrument. Let's have a look at the main parts of the guitar. All guitars are structured similar, but they have some differences. They all have a body. This is the body here. If you look at the electric here, it has a body, different shape, but it's still the body of the guitar. The neck is the long part here, and again on here is the long part. I do have a classical here as well. These are the three sort of main guitars. Again, it has a body and it has a neck, as do all the guitars I've got here. The headstock. This is the headstock where the strings pass through the tuners or the machine heads, and it changes the length of the string, which changes the pitch of the note. So you can tune your guitar to keep it in tune. They're also called the tuning pegs, or I like to call them machine heads. You can call them tuners, tuning pegs, it doesn't matter. The metal strips, again, all three guitars have metal strips going down here across on the classical, and that is where you put your finger to create a note. And the optimum place to put your finger is just behind the fret, maybe a little a millimeter gap. If you're too far onto the fret, it's a bit dull, and if you go back, it's nice and clear. If you go too far back, again, you change the tune, you get a bit of a rattle there as well. So the optimum place to put your finger is just behind the fret with a millimeter gap, so you're not too far onto the fret to dull the note. Okay. Strings. These are 3 6-string guitar. Well, at the minute I've just broken the string on this one. That's 5. Should be 6. You can get 7-string, 8-string. I think Steve Vai has got something like a 20-string guitar. I've never had more than 6. I have played a 7, but I don't need a 7. I mean, 6 is fine. Oh, don't go for 7, by the way, straight away. Stick with a 6. And these are the strings that you play to create the note. They pass through the bridge. This is the bridge here. The bridge on the electric guitar is a little bit different. And then they pass over this white thing here. They're all white on these guitars. You can get black ones. That is called the nut. And then they pass through the tuners, and you tune it to a specific letters, which we'll talk about later. The bridge, I've said about the bridge, this is where the string passes through on the electric guitar. Let's have a look at this one. It passes through the holes here. If you look at the back of the electric guitar, it passes through the holes at the back, through the front, and again up through the tuners there. Okay, let's have a look at the acoustic. With the acoustic, you've got pegs, and you push the strings into the holes and push the pegs to keep the strings in place, and again over the nut and through the tuners. With the classical, it's slightly different. It's a bit of a mess, but you take it through the bridge, wrap it round, pull it into a knot, and then up through the tuners again. Okay, that's quite a different way of stringing the guitar. We won't go there too far. The sound hole. Now this is on acoustic and classical. This is this hole here, and it goes into the sound hole. The body amplifies the sound, and then it comes out of the sound hole again, and that's where you get this nice mellow sound. On an electric guitar, we have pickups and an amplifier. I haven't got the amplifier here. I will get that in a later lesson. But these are called pickups. On my guitar, I've got 3. There are others that have 2, and some have 1. And they pick up the vibration from the metal strings, sends it to the jack and out to be amplified through the amplifier, and you can change the tone and the volume with these here. I've got 2 knobs. You can have 3 knobs. There are some with buttons. The older style guitars have buttons, but they all do the same thing. They change the volume, they change the tone, and the pickups pick up the vibration from the strings. Okay. So electric guitars, you can get pickups for acoustic guitars. Some excuse me. Some guitars have a permanent pickup. Some have pickups that you can put into the sound hole to amplify the sound that way. Okay. So it's a good idea to look at your guitar and check out all the bits and pieces we've just been through, and to remember and recognise what parts of the guitar are. If we turn over to page 6, this is quite an important page. Acoustic versus electric, what is the difference? Well, this is what I call an acoustic guitar. This is what I call a classical guitar, and you will sometimes see these called acoustic nylon string guitars and acoustic metal string guitars. Okay, I would just call the nylon string a classical and the metal string an acoustic. Okay, so you will find some places, or if you look at Facebook or other eBay, things like that, and you will see classical guitars. I've known people, not classical, acoustic guitars. I've known people buy an acoustic guitar, but it's not actually a metal acoustic, it's a nylon acoustic, so be aware of that when you're buying a guitar. At this stage I wouldn't buy a classical guitar unless you want to play classical music, and I'll show you why in a second. Okay, which is better? Well, there's neither are better than the other. I've always played acoustic and electric guitars. Not so much classical until later on. Something I just wanted to develop my skills and look at playing classical guitars. Which is better for you? If you want to play rock music, solos and that sort of thing, electric, I would say electric. If you want to go playing folk music, acoustic music and Ed Sheeran and that sort of thing, acoustic is better. There's no reason why you can't do both at the same time. I don't mean actually both at the same time physically, but acoustic one day, classical the next. I do that quite a lot. As for choosing your first guitar, like I say, it's the style of music you want to play. If you're a beginner, now I have been teaching 20 years and I have had so many children come to me, and adults as well, with a classical guitar, with one of these. They are quite a different guitar to play. They're not made for rock music, they're not made for folk music, Ed Sheeran music. They are for classical music, finger picking style, that sort of thing. You'll notice the thickness of the neck. On a classical guitar, it's a 2-inch neck, okay, which is quite a lot bigger. If I hold up the acoustic guitar, the acoustic guitar, you can see this guitar, the classical guitar, the neck is a lot thicker than the acoustic, and it's a lot harder. If you want to play normal chords like a C chord and a G chord, it's a lot harder to get your fingers around that. Some people think, well, it's a bigger neck, the bigger strings, I've got big fingers, I'll go for that. No, it doesn't work like that. You'll still struggle and find it hard to form the chords. So I have a lot of parents come to me and say, I bought little Johnny a classical guitar, and when he can learn to play that, and I'll get him an acoustic guitar. When he can learn to play that, I'll get him an electric guitar. That is the wrong way around. The easiest guitar to play is the electric, because the strings are closer to the frets, and it's easier to push the strings down. If you play an acoustic guitar, it will hurt. If you play electric guitar, it'll hurt, but it will hurt more on an acoustic guitar when you first start than it would on an electric guitar, and you will struggle more to play the chords on an acoustic than you would on an electric. By all means, if you want to do acoustic, buy an acoustic guitar, but if your target, if your goal is to play electric guitar, buy an electric guitar. Don't start with a classical, then acoustic, then electric. Go straight to the electric guitar. And which one to get? Well, that is just totally up to you. What colour do you like? What style do you like? I would go to a shop, I would sit down with a guitar, and I would pick the guitar that picks you. You'll feel happy with it, you will feel comfortable, and pick that guitar. Don't just go for a style that somebody else has or a favourite musician has. Go to a shop, get a guitar and play the guitar. Doesn't matter that you can't play, but feel the guitar. If it feels right, it's right. Hope that helps. I'll see you at the next lesson.